Hello everybody, welcome back to I Dream of Indie. Ole Gamer Joe here today with another review. We're looking at the Almost Gone, which I played on Steam. It is a puzzle point-and-click adventure that will also be released on the Nintendo Switch and Android platforms as of June 25th, 2020. This game was developed by Happy Volcano and published by Playdigious. As the title of this game implies, you'll play as a girl who is sort of stuck between life and death, somewhere in between, trying to unravel the mysteries of what exactly has happened to her and what led her to her moment of death. I guess that you could say her life is sort of flashing before her eyes as she will visit various set pieces which were a part of her childhood. There are no cutscenes in the Almost Gone that drive the narrative forward, rather you'll explore the environments by pointing and clicking, grabbing various objects. These objects allow you to discover more about yourself, your childhood, your family, and all of the things that brought you to the point that you find yourself at. The game is not afraid to shy away from some pretty heavy topics, including alcoholism and mental health, just to name a few, and so you'll find yourself in front of a bunch of different dioramas that are laid out before you, and you'll be able to move through these areas at your own free will, exploring every nook and cranny by rotating the screen and finding objects that will help you progress the story. This game was best experienced with a mouse in my opinion. Using the left clicker allows you to rotate the screen when you hold it down, as well as click on objects that will help you again to progress the story forward. Certain objects that are picked up can be further explored by clicking on a highlighted area of that object, and that might lead to more clues to solving the next puzzle. You also have an in-game inventory. You do hold on to some of these items. Using the right click will allow you to access that, and sometimes you'll need to drag these items to certain areas in order to solve puzzles as well. There's 5 chapters in all, though the 5th is really kind of short to be honest with you and barely counts as a chapter, but for the most part the environments are all quite unique from one another, including forests and hospitals. Exploring these environments and being able to rotate them around in so many different ways was my favorite aspect of the game. While the majority of your puzzles are simply finding an object and bringing it to a certain point in the diorama, there are a few different ones as well that mix things up a little bit, including having to match particular symbols that might be in your notes, or matching up constellations that you see in the sky to a globe in your room. Overall, there isn't a ton of frustration to be had in terms of puzzle design. They're generally pretty simple to figure out. They will require a little bit of logic, and some of them are more clever than others, but I would rate the difficulty of this game as fair. It's really the narrative aspect of the Almost Gone that's the most puzzling aspect of all. While I again don't want to go into any specific story details too much here, I will say that the payoff did not feel satisfying to me whatsoever. That could be viewed as a little bit of a disappointment, as I was initially quite engaged with the plot. Unfortunately, the Almost Gone ends far too abruptly, and there's no real reason to go back once you've completed it. And because the average gamer could complete this one in 4 to 5 hours, I would say, you could also view this as a letdown. Still though, the time you do get with these puzzles should be cherished. This is definitely a unique experience for a puzzle game, and I did enjoy figuring them out and piecing together all of the different clues, even if the payoff wasn't what I was looking for. Graphically, the Almost Gone is quite a beautiful experience. I enjoyed exploring all of the different environments, rotating around and finding items. Even though the journey is short, there is a good amount of care that went into setting every act of this game apart from one another. The environments that you explore feel lived in, even though there's nobody living in them while you'll play the game. Overall, these rendered dioramas are really quite wonderful to look at. Sound design is also pretty good. There's not really any music in this game, more abstract sounds, sort of background noise, a little bit unnerving. I could have done with a few musical compositions here or there maybe, but perhaps that's not what the developer had in mind. It does, however, make sense that they would go this route given the nature of what this game actually is. So even though I'm always a sucker for a little bit of video game music in my video games, I can still respect the sound design of this title. The Almost Gone is a short puzzle game, but it's also a really unique and memorable one. I do think that the narrative could have used some tightening up towards the end. I don't think that there's any real payoff to this game, and it might leave you with more questions than answers. Figuring out the puzzles that are put before you is really satisfying though, and the environments are really unique and interesting to explore. This is a different kind of puzzle game. I don't know if it's going to be for everyone. The subject matter can be a little heavy, but at the end of the day, I recommend this if you're a fan of puzzle games and you're looking for something a little bit different. So, will you be picking up the Almost Gone? Let us know in the comments below, and if you have enjoyed our content here at I Dream of Indie today, please do consider hitting the subscribe button below so that you can help us in our fight to bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. There's also a ton of other ways to support us down in the description box below. However you end up supporting I Dream of Indie, we thank you so much for doing so.